So most businesses are losing money every single day, but not because they need more leads, not because their offer is broken, but because they're missing one or two simple follow-ups that would capture revenue that's already sitting there waiting for
And
them.
here's the frustrating part. It's not even complicated.
Hmm.
It's not some advanced strategy you haven't learned yet. It's usually just a gap, like an
Hmm.
email that never got sent, or a reminder that never went out, or the next step that was never clearly defined.
Yeah, so instead of fixing that, what do people do? They go chase more
That's what we hear all the
leads.
time. I need more leads. I need to get in
Right,
front of
more
more
leads, more
people.
leads,
Wait,
more
more
leads,
leads,
more
more
leads.
leads.
No, more traffic, all right? More content, more noise, while the opportunities they already created are just sitting there like completely untouched.
Yeah, and today we're going to show you exactly how this plays out inside a real client example because this client didn't have a lead problem.
Hmm.
They had opportunity that was sitting right there in their business right now that wasn't being fully captured.
Yeah, here we go.
So excited for our next guest. They speak around the country to sold out
They
crowds.
build multiple seven-figure businesses.
Empower business owners to scale to 6 and 7 figures.
Thank you to you because you've turned me into a social media whore.
Kim Allstrill has created one of the fastest growing companies in America and has generated over $1 billion for her clients.
Jess Warney is a television icon who has starred in commercials, 7 Broadway shows, and now is bringing over 20 years of entertainment experience to entrepreneurs all over the world.
Together, they've created a winning formula that has business owners buzzing about their impact and their income.
A 6-figure launch. Super duper exciting.
My first webinar, we did 5 figures.
We still landed 2 companies that resulted in contracts for $90,000.
It has really changed the way I invest, the way we do deals with companies, the way we change our strategies for customer acquisition. I'm out there, and you know that, and you're part of that success.
I can't say enough good things about this ROI-focused dynamic duo.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. Welcome Justin Guarini and Kim Wall Phillips.
This is the thing that's so crazy is that many clients come to us and they have very successful businesses, right? And they always come to us about wanting more leads, wanting more traffic. They think the problem is more prospects. And this company does want more leads and traffic. And absolutely, we're going to do that. But this thing, a lot of marketing agencies just give that to them because that's what the client's asking for. But it's kind of like pouring the most expensive, incredible, amazing water. You know, there's these water sommeliers now,
Yes, of
right?
course.
So you're paying, but you're pouring it into a carafe that has holes in the bottom of it.
Huh.
So you're spending all this money getting the highest, most beautiful, delicious water ever so that it can just pour right out. And that's what you're doing when you just put leads into a system that is losing all these prospects along the way. So that's what this client was doing. They had great visibility already. The CEO was speaking on a lot of stages. They had offers that were converting. They were being clients in all the time, and they had what most people would call a working funnel.
It's a working funnel.
Yeah.
But they hired us to scale and not to just maintain.
Yeah.
And scaling actually requires a completely different level of thinking, a different way of looking at your business, right? Because now we're not asking, okay, hey, does this thing work?
Yeah.
You're actually asking, does this fully capture every single opportunity that already exists? And can we then take those and begin to grow and grow and grow upon those without actually falling apart? Or like you said, with like letting all of the water out of the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah, because this is the thing with marketing. The most expensive step in your entire marketing funnel. Hear us when we say this. The most expensive step as far as either time and or money, because you either spent time to get that lead or you spent money to get that lead or you did both. The most expensive step is getting the lead. So all of the profit is hiding in what happens after you get the lead into your business. So as we started working with this client, we went over, okay, what are your goals? How many clients do you want? What is the revenue target? Like all the normal things. What's the timeline? Because once you clearly define those goals, it becomes very obvious of what your current system is actually built to support.
Yes. And when we did that, what we found is what we see all the time.
Yeah.
Now, on the surface, everything looks clean. It looks simple. It looks like it's working. But underneath that simplicity, there were multiple moments where attention was being generated. Awesome. But nothing unstructured was happening next. There was no predictable flow moving forward.
And that's super normal. Like as you're starting your business, a lot of the clients that we work with want to build out new systems or processes, and they always build it from the very beginning. Well, this needs to be able to scale. And that's the thing. You don't scale when you start. You start. Then you see where your greatest opportunities lie, and then you build the scale system. So it's okay if you don't have this part in place yet, because most businesses don't, and you can't have it in place before you know what to do. And that's what a lot of businesses get wrong, right? They build this one lead machine and assume that that's enough, and then they just stop there. So it's okay to start there, but you can't stop there, because the reality is your business doesn't have just one type of lead. It has multiple entry points. It has multiple contexts and multiple levels of intent.
Yes, a business that scales well certainly has those. And the person who you just watched speak live,
When they watch you speak
right?
live.
Yeah, right. Like so you watch Speak Live is not the same as someone who opted into your webinar.
Right.
Right. That person's not necessarily in the same mindset. They don't have the same sense of urgency. Right?
We actually found that in our business when we tracked all of our data. It was like, once we saw it, we're like, duh. So people who see us speak at a live event are the least likely to show up for a webinar in the future.
Right.
And we were like, okay, we already know. But they're the most likely to book a strategy call and become an elite client right away.
Absolutely.
Well, that makes sense. They actually have a strong relationship. They have a strong relationship from seeing us speak in person.
Yeah.
They want to move forward faster. And now we're almost like holding them back by requiring them to go on a webinar.
Yeah.
Where virtual event attendees were much more likely to sign up for the webinar, show up for the webinar, and have the highest conversion rate on any webinar from any audience we've ever worked with.
Yeah, it's like you're meeting them where they're at. Right?
Yeah.
And someone who's going to watch live is going to be more geared towards speaking to us live, and virtual is the same way. And so it really is interesting, because we spent, like many businesses do and many businesses we see, we found out the hard way that, like, oh my goodness, we really have to be very specific about the attention we get, and then the way that we guide people to the actual thing that they want via that attention.
Yeah, and those groups can't be treated the same way, right? So when you force all those people through one simple funnel, you're not being efficient.
No.
You're actually flattening out your opportunity, and that's where money gets lost.
Yeah.
And so the reality is, what you want to look at is, what is the behavior likely to be for the audience you're connecting with? And it is best to be a similar looking environment or experience of where you met them first.
Right.
So somebody who meets you in an in-person event wants direct connection to you, and somebody who is virtual is saying, I will attend things virtually. So make the next step similar to that.
Yeah, and this is in alignment with something else that we talk about all the time, which is thinking from the marketplace.
Yeah.
Meaning, give people what they want, right? We'll talk about the bells and whistles of what we sell and who we are and how many degrees.
The opportunities we offer.
The opportunities we offer, right? But ultimately, it doesn't make any sense if they don't want that thing.
Right.
If we don't speak to what they want. Well, the same thing applies here. It's like they want to see you live, so give them what they want, which is more live you. They want to, and they showed up virtually for you. So give them more of what it is that they want in the way that they want it. Okay, so let's start with one of the highest leverage moments when you're speaking on stage and you're actually allowed to make an offer, because you're not always allowed to make an offer. Sometimes it's just lead gen, but when
No, it's not either. Like when I speak on Aspire, I can't do either.
they're like ninja ways.
We'll do that on
it.
another episode.
We'll talk about that later and you'll love it. But when you're actually allowed to make an offer, this is where buying intent is at its peak. You got people who are ready, who are like, yes, they see you, they get it, you've delivered that message, and yet people still hesitate.
Yeah, and so there are people who overthink it. They delay the next step. They tell people to check this link out later. And it's like you just build trust with an authority in real time, and now you're asking them to just cool off. So here's how we did with this client. So they have some stages where they can make an offer, and there's some stages that they can't. So this is how we structured it.
Yeah, and it's free gift to capture the lead, followed immediately by a strategy session on the thank you page. Now that alone is revolutionary for a lot of businesses. I'll say it again. It is a free gift to capture the lead. Okay, a lot of people do that. But instead of just saying, hey, thanks, good job, check your email. No, we immediately give them something on the thank you page. That way, the people who are ready can move forward right then and there.
Now, here's the thing that they charge for their strategy session, their tax strategy sessions, and the person's going to get revelations on that page. So events they can't, is that what you're going to ask?
No, I was going to say, so what you're saying is that they charge because maybe people who pay attention?
Yeah, they do not get a good show up rate if people don't pay. So people pay for that call. Now, on stages, they're not allowed to make a sales offer. They do not charge on that page. Like, okay, wait, what? How? And this client said, I will not give away free tax strategy sessions at all. So that being the case, the way that we got around that is, and this is a secret strategy for you, on the thank you page after the toolkit, they are going to request to book a call.
Yeah.
So then we're going to follow up with an email campaign, getting them to do that paid call. So they are still going through the same funnel.
Yeah.
There's just one extra step underneath it because we can't sell something on that page, and they honor their relationships. They're not going to go around it, where we've had some stages where I can only give a free gift and I still sell something on the thank you page because that's fine to them. In their community, they do not want to do that. So we just have a button click. But those are just two. Then once you get to there, the question then becomes, okay, the person, even if they purchased the strategy session, did they book the call?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to get them to book the call? Then once they book the call, do they show up for the call? What if they miss the call, right? And so you have to look at, okay, what happens in that moment? Are we nurturing them? Are we doing follow-up? Or are we losing them?
Yeah. So it's vitally important, because if you want to scale, having these systems and processes in place, knowing what your numbers are, knowing how people want to see you, how you capture their attention, and then how they're more likely to move forward into you and then with you, and then giving them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and
that is huge.
And that's where most businesses quietly lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
Right? They speak on stage, they post on social media, they run a social media post. And when they're not allowed to pitch, they mentally write off the opportunity as just exposure.
Oh, no. And,
Yeah.
We talk about this in detail, and this is another conversation. There are reasons to do speeches just for professional development. It's not exposure, it's professional development, right? And other reasons. But don't do things and think, oh, this is opportunity for exposure, because it sounds nice, but exposure does not pay your team.
Yeah.
And the reality is, the interest is you're still there. And you're just not capturing the attention. You're just not capturing the audience correctly.
Yeah. So instead, we go to the free gift and we get the request for a strategy session. They still get charged for it.
Yeah.
Then a follow up that actually sells the session afterwards. You're not breaking the rules. You're just entering into the conversation structured in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you see it that way, you're not selling.
Yeah.
Those non-selling stages become just as valuable as the ones where you can pitch, because now you're actually taking your lead somewhere and giving them an opportunity to have the conversation with you without breaking any rules.
Yeah. And so then there's a third funnel, and that's the virtual one that we're talking about. When they're in virtual audience, they're more likely to attend a virtual experience next.
Yeah. And this is a very traditional path. This has been happening for a while now. A lot of people will extol the virtues of this, and it's great inviting people into a webinar and selling them into a 2-day experience, for example. Now, this is the one that, again, a lot of people feel comfortable with, because it looks and feels like, what we call like a real funnel.
Yeah, but even here, the mistake is thinking that the webinar is the whole game. It's not. It's just one step in the process.
Oh yes, but it can be sold to people like it's the whole game. That's all you need.
That's
just a webinar.
That's like all those internet gurus out there. Yeah, the webinar is the secret to your future.
That's all you need.
It's not true.
No, it's not true at all. It is one of the greatest things you can have in your arsenal. However, there are systems and processes that go along with that make it the thing that they always say it is. Because again, every single one of those funnels, the good ones, the good webinars, they lead to the same place, which is a strategy session. And that's where the real conversations happen. And when the real conversations happen, in the right way, in the right order, with the right message. That's where clients are actually created.
Yeah, and here's the part that most people completely miss.
Hmm.
They think once someone buys or requests a strategy session, the job is done.
Yes, that's it. Hey, look, I got about
I'm
10
done.
strategy
Strategy
sessions.
club,
I got so many strategy questions. It's totally great. No, my goodness, that's not even close to being done. It's actually where the
That's
system.
still good though in a week when I have all this book call.
Yeah,
But
your calendar.
you got an option. You can manually follow up or you could automatically follow up. I choose what's behind door number 2, Chuck.
Thank you very much, Chuck. It's true. And so this is where, when you get those calls where the system actually either works or it just completely falls apart.
Yeah, because if someone buys and they don't book and they don't show or misses a call and never hears from you again, that's not a lead problem. That's a follow through problem. And that is money that you are losing from your business every single day.
Yeah. And look, life happens.
Right.
People miss calls. People do, but you don't have to just accept that.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of the most expensive problems that you can have, because these are people who already said yes, and yet they don't actually follow through.
Yeah. So we build this out intentionally. First, a booking campaign that makes it easy and urgent for someone to actually schedule their call after they've said yes.
Yeah. And then once they booked, we reinforce that commitment with reminders that actually make them want to show up.
Yeah.
Right? Not just calendar notifications that they ignore.
Yeah, and if they don't show up, we don't just move on. We follow up, we re-engage, and we give them another opportunity to step back in because the interest is there. You already got the lead. You spent the time and the money.
Right.
Bring them back into the next step.
And attention, getting people's attention, that's
That's the hardest part.
Hardest parts, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that's a huge currency these days. Getting their attention and then keeping it is what we're talking about. And when you actually put those pieces in place, you realize actually something pretty quickly. It's that you didn't need more leads.
Mm-hmm.
You needed to stop letting the ones you already earned slip through the cracks.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking about, where is this happening in your business? Where are people raising their hand and then not being guided to the next step? Then this is a great time for our Powerful Professionals Network members to drop your questions inside the chat. If you're with us on Zoom right now, if you're here on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. Okay, so we have a few questions that we had submitted ahead of time. We want to go through those with the funnel. And then if you have additional questions, put them in the chat.
Yeah, okay. So we got a question submitted from Thomas who said, how do I know if I actually need more leads or not, right?
Yeah.
Or if I'm just not converting the ones that I already have.
So this is a great question. So what I would do is, our favorite quote is from E.M. Denning, "In God I trust, everyone else bring data."
Right.
And so we want to look at the data, right? If we are not converting 100%, 100% of people who opt into your funnel into becoming a client, they are being lost somewhere along the way. So if you're not at 100%, you need to solve that problem. I would actually pause any lead generation activities if you can get this done quickly. If you want to keep flowing them through, that's fine. But with this client, we actually said we're not going to do any ad spend right now. Do your speaking gigs that you currently have in place. Keep those going. Keep talking to clients. I want to keep bringing business in. But besides that, we're not doing any ad spend right now. We're not posting any social media. We're not booking you on new stages. We're not booking a new podcast until we have sealed up all those holes in the bucket, because every time you do one of those things, you're not getting nearly the amount of ROI that you could be if that was solved. So for most businesses, they need more leads, but they shouldn't go after more leads until they have every step along the process filled.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Another question is from Tiffany, who said, what's the best way to follow up with someone who hasn't booked their strategy session without feeling annoying?
The answer is actually simpler and more structured than you think.
Yeah, it's just all about bringing massive value. The person paid to do something with you, or if you offer strategy sessions at no cost, they booked the call, they said they want it. So make your follow-up campaign not about the thing that they purchased or the thing that you have. Make it about their desire. Like you said you wanted to solve this problem. We'd love to make that happen. Let's make sure we get on the call. Sharing a case study is really valuable in one of your follow-up. Fear of missing out. So let them know the appointments are filling up.
Mhm.
Let them know what they will discover on that call that will make their life better. It oftentimes isn't because they don't want to do it. It's just because something else popped up urgently when they got that message from you.
Right.
So being consistently following up, you're actually serving them with great value instead of being a distraction.
Yeah, and it is beneficial to get their phone number.
Yeah.
Like truly, because so many people are bombarded with so many emails. A lot of people don't check them, but text is a wonderful way when used appropriately to actually get in front of people. And something that we do for our clients is we do a starting now text. We don't bombard them every day or every other day or even once a week. We simply, before like an hour or maybe 45 minutes or 15 minutes before a call, we give them a starting now text so that they know. And it's like, hey, we're super excited. Again, what you were saying is like, you want to lead with what's in it for them, how great this is. We're super excited to solve this problem. And it makes people way more receptive and also gives them time to be like, oh, yeah, I remember this, or okay, boom, I'm ready for this in a way that communicates directly with them and cuts through a lot of the noise. Another question that we got is, how many different funnels should I actually have before it becomes too complicated, which is kind of part of what we unpacked today.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing is that this business we're working with as a client is a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah.
And we only have 3 funnels. It's just it's actually 2 funnels and variation on the thank you page one, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're spending a lot of time, money, and energy always launching another free gift and another free gift and this other funnel, this other resource, you're actually diluting what you could be doing by not filling in the gaps of what you have in place. I would have less funnels, but more scenarios built out in them. And that's the beautiful thing. Once it's done, you can iterate so well because you're not constantly trying to create new content, new strategies. You're just finishing up the funnel you already have in place to get the most out of it. So good.
Absolutely.
All right, amazing. So we have some great questions inside the chat. Michelle had said, how does this apply for insurance? A highly regulated industry. I mean, it's for every person who books a call with you. So once they book a call, what do the reminders look like? What does the show up sequence look like? If they miss the call, do you have an email campaign and a text campaign to go out to them to get to rebook the call? If they book the call and you have the call, what does the follow-up campaign look like in order to enroll with you? And to make all of that, my guess, as most salespeople, it's being done manually. You're like, oh, I have this call tomorrow. Let me do a reminder. Oh, they didn't show up. Let me do a personal follow-up. When you put those pieces in place in automation, none of those steps get missed. One of my favorite books, I highly recommend it to all of you on this topic, is called The Checklist Manifesto. It sounds like, what? It was a book about checklists, and I am not a detail-oriented person, and I loved it. It was actually written by an ER doctor. And there was a study done that when the longer a doctor had been doing their job, yes, they were more seasoned. Yes, they were more experienced, but it was the more mistakes that they made because our brain will shortcut steps to bring us to the solution. And when they instituted a checklist process that became mandatory for everybody inside the ER, the infections went down, the deaths went down, the mistakes went down, and more people were actually able to live because our brain will cut out steps. So creating systems and processes literally saved lives inside a hospital and actually made it much more profitable because then they weren't fighting lawsuits and they were doing their mission, which is to save lives. Within our businesses, we need to do that same thing. And instead of a checklist, which is very manual, you can automate all these things, set them up once and forget them.
Okay, now we have a question from Sangeeta. Says, the AI market is shifting so fast. I feel my offer is already outdated. What should be my strategy? Well, it's how you frame it, Sangeeta. I love AI. I'm deep into the AI world. A lot of the systems and processes, speaking of, that we have inside of our business, I am creating and handling, and it's awesome. And I always have to remind myself, and this is what I'd encourage you to remind yourself too, is that the majority of the people in the world, the majority of people in business, are not using AI the way you and I use it. They're not using AI the way most AI experts use it. They're using it as a souped up search engine, mostly. That's the way most people use AI right now, or they'll ask it simple questions. In business, most people are not using AI to do all the fanciful things that we know. They're basically using it just for little things here and there. So I would encourage you to not get caught in the trap of like, oh my gosh, I've got to keep up with the cutting edge, the cutting edge, the cutting edge. Take what is working for you, what you know about your avatar, what you know about your Alex or Ally, which is what we call them, their problem is, and solve that problem in the most simple manner possible using AI. It is very, very easy to want to over engineer something. Ask me how I know. But what I've discovered is that the more simple I can make the process via AI to just solve the problem, and I'll even say, hey, please do not over engineer this.
Well, I don't even think this should be showing the text. So if you just
Yeah.
if you take this episode we just had with you as an example,
Mhm.
we shared with you all the things that you should look at
Mhm.
inside your business, but we didn't tell you how to fix it.
No.
We didn't talk about technology at all. We mentioned you should have automation, but we didn't tell you how to do the automation. That wouldn't be the purpose of this content we have right now is the front end lead gen that we want to have in place.
Speaking of front end lead gen, for some reason my phone and my computer decided that they
Just
would
please
be
pop it
random.
on do not disturb.
I have tried. I've done it multiple times. There we go. So sometimes the
All right, I'm going to repeat the question so we can get that out of the episode. The good news is you're going to do the editing of this episode, so it's going to work out great.
Sure.
Okay, all right, we're going to do a clap here so I know when the moment is. Okay, great. On this episode, we didn't get into the technology at all. We just said what you need to do, not how to do it.
Right.
We gave you that big picture. When it comes to AI, I would do the same thing, sharing with them the problem. Like, do you want more of your leads? You literally could take the content we had in this episode and use it within your industry. Are you bringing leads in, but they're not all converting? Are you leveraging the power AI to do the follow up for you? Here's 5 things you could do to turn more of those leads into clients. And you can literally list them out. It can track, did they sign up for the call? Did they book the call? That follow up with them with a personalized text or email, finding out why they didn't. If they missed the call, check in with them, see if they're okay, get them to rebook the call. Not telling them how to do it, just what to do. That's available to you right now, and that's what I would have my content look like.
Yeah, and your offer is not going to be outdated because there are so many people who are not even remotely where you are in your understanding of AI. So make the offer and then make it in a way that is structured like that where they understand what's in it for them. They don't care about the tech. They don't care about nodes and workflow. They care about the result and the outcome. So use your not over-engineered system to deliver that message.
Yeah. And there you have it. Fill the fill the holes in the bucket.
Try-
We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Okay.
Ah, bam.